For most of my original music stuff that I've got going on, I happen to have a Boss MS3 as well as some extra pedals in their loops and some little extra Boss accessories like an expression pedal and a scrolling switch that will allow you to go up and down banks without having to do tap dancing on the MS3. And I've got it all kind of really well condensed into a really nice little pedal board. It's on a pedal train, classic junior with a power supply. It's an older Voodoo Labs one that works fine. And I happen to have just a couple other pedals in the loop, in the loops for that. So it works really, really well. Now, the problem I've run into is over the years, past couple of years actually, I've ended up with some new pedals that I kind of want to play around with, and incorporating those pedals into this MS3 setup, whether I'm trying to do something, whether I want to bring it to a practice or to actually just have around here to play around with, it's kind of difficult. Just making sure, cables for power and audio, just getting that all set up and so everything will play nicely together can be kind of a pain. So I decided finally I'm going to take all those neat little pedals that I've got, because I always kind of wanted to play around with combinations of them too. I was only really adding in one here or there. So I decided I was going to make a pedal board that would have all these new extra pedals available at my feet. Now, I have been a big fan of Pedal Train's stuff over the years, and I've been using one of their pedal boards in one size or another since about 2008. They're great overall, but there have been some new boards that have come on the market since then, and I just decided to explore one of them. Okay, here's the typical YouTuber plug I always talk about. Okay, if you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. The bell icon will let you know when I put up a new video. I've got notifications that like 97 to 98% of the viewers on this page aren't subscribers. I don't know if I'm showing up in your feeds, but the YouTube algorithm might be driving that for this point. But if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be sure not to miss out on any future videos when I do them. And if you like this video, please click the thumbs up button. And if you want to share this, well, there's a button for that as well. Okay, so I decided to go with a new pedal board for these extra pedals. So I went with the Holeyboard. Now the concept of these boards are pretty simple. It's bent aluminum with a powder coating, and they have strategically placed holes. They have a very unique purpose, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. When I was in Nashville in the fall of 2023, the pedal displays at Third Man Records, they actually have some pedals for sale, and they have some pedal boards so you can try out some stuff that they happen to have on display. And they were using the Holeyboards, and I kind of were intrigued by this concept. Now the holes, as I mentioned, they're kind of meant to either run cabling for basically for your power up and through into the pedals for power, and also your signal, so if you need that. But also they're meant to use zip ties to attach the pedals to the pedal board, kind of like lashing them down like the way you would maybe cinch down a large appliance in the flatbed of the back of a pickup truck or something like that. And now there are some areas on the Holeyboard. They have a smaller area with some smaller holes. It's kind of like a little area. Holeyboard says you could use Velcro or dual lock or something like that if you want to attach pedals in the traditional sense. They shouldn't have any issues with the adhesive kind of coming loose on that area. But they continually, throughout all the paperwork and all the instruction manual type things I've seen, they encourage you to go with zip ties and to even just try them out. And I thought that was kind of a neat way of kind of sharing their idea, but not jamming it down your throat. But I decided I was gonna do that. I was gonna use their zip tie method. Now, width-wise, this comes in at about 13 inches wide, and it's got like a little dual tier area that makes sense space-wise. For this board, I decided I'm gonna make it all condensed into one unit, and I went with a SaturnWorks input-output box. And then that goes into a Mythos 210 overdrive distortion pedal. Then it goes into Moore's E7 synth pedal. And after that, it goes into Copper Sound's triple graph pedal. And then it goes into Copper Sound's telegraph pedal. Everything is also powered by a True Tone CS6 power supply. Now, I'm going to be doing a video on all these pedals individually, so stay tuned. So if you have any questions about those will be answered in a later video. So again, I use zip ties to attach everything, and that seemed to work very well. One thing to mention though is due to the smooth surface of this board, even though there's a little bit of a texture on it from the powder coating or whatever the coating is on it, you have a pedal that has Velcro, the hard side of Velcro that you would normally put on for a Velcro style attachment. When you cinch it down, really be careful. You really want to make sure you can get it down there as tight as possible, because that surface kind of like, it could slide a little bit if it's not lashed down tightly. In fact, if some of your pedals came with rubber feet and if you removed them, or maybe you got a boutique pedal where they just give them to you kind of in that little bag with all the warranty info, maybe it might be a good time to reattach them. So you can basically, when you lash them down, the rubber from those feet will really give extra grip on the surface of the pedal board. It will definitely keep slidage to a minimal. In fact, here's one thing. Boss pedals work fantastic with this type of thing because the rubber pad that's on the bottom offers up plenty of contact. And also, these are also a great place. The Boss's pedal with that little lowered area has a great area where you could run the zip tie down and really get it down there as well. And usually that back to the rubber pad thing, the rubber pad on the Boss pedals, that's always been an issue attaching Velcro to and getting onto a pedal board. Most players I know, they have always either jammed a ton of Velcro in that little island in the middle, that little recessed area, and try to get it to hold on, or they take a heat gun and pull off the entire rubber pad and just like put Velcro on there. But if you've got a regular Boss pedal that you haven't done that to, that rubber foot pad will definitely help keep things in its place, especially for those pedals. Now, I did have to run some additional zip ties. I had to run some horizontally and vertically to prevent some slippage, especially on the power supply and on the Mythos pedal. Basically, anytime I plug in a pedal or plug in the power supply itself, the actual power cable, the brick would kind of shift. So I have it lashed down on both horizontally and vertically, and it's very well. It's not moving in there at this point, so that's great. And the Mythos had the same thing. It just with that, there's no surfaces, there's no little things for it to catch onto. So it was great just to have that. On both axes, and just zip ties aren't that expensive. So I've got a couple of them going there, and that works out very, very well. The one thing I also want to mention is that there's on the board, and I'll show this in some other B-roll footage, there's a little slot on the bottom area, and that's really great for patching in cables. It kind of plays in with these holes that are on the board. And when I placed the pedals, I realized I should have pulled the pedal closer to the edge because I couldn't get the full length of a power cable, of an actual, not power cable, an actual signal cable to make full contact. It was too long and it was getting in the way there, not enough space for it. So if you've got cables with some bulky ends, maybe some molded ends or some longer barrel ends, maybe that's the best way to describe it, you might want to think about that. I went with the Ernie Ball flat patch cables throughout, and I have no issues with that. They fit through all the different holes that I need them to with no issues whatsoever. And this Holeyboard I got is the Holeyboard 1, and it's part of a system that can be purchased individually or as kind of like a set. And I just want to dip my toes into this setup because I like the idea of being able to expand it. There is a Holeyboard 2 that kind of slides in there, kind of like a trombone, and you can actually extend the width of the board. And that's really a great idea, because if you ever try to say, oh, I just wish I had a couple extra inches or a little extra space to put another pedal on there, and then you have to go buy a completely new pedal board or reconfigure everything on the old board or give up a pedal. This kind of expanding system really allows for that type of if you decide to add something or take something away. And it's kind of a little bit of a kit. They've got some hardware that goes with it. And there's also a Holeyboard 3, which is a flattened area. And that's meant kind of for things like if you want to add a wah or an expression pedal or some longer format pedal. And you can put them on either side. You can the configurations are kind of like Legos. You can kind of move things around as you need to. And it's pretty cool. The only downside to this system is due to this expandable design. If you decide to go down this road for making a very big board, you can have a very large board with this. There's no really good case if you're going to try to make it a certain size. For the board that I've got, it's not really a big deal. It's this little one could very easily fit in a medium-sized Pelican case or something like that. Wouldn't be a big deal to do that. If you decide to go on the road and bring one of the, having with these expandable boards where it's kind of an odd size, you might have a hard time finding a case for it. So for transit, I play locally, and it's not going to be a big deal for me. Even if I got a bigger one, it wouldn't be that much of a problem. The only thing that Holeyboard does sell that kind of works like a case, they have a tote bag, which that might be fine again if you're going from maybe your rehearsal space to a gig, or maybe you're taken to a buddy's place and jam. But if you really want something that's going to be a little bit more roadworthy and with a little bit more protection, finding, you might have to get a little creative on finding some sort of case or box. Overall, I like this whole pedal board concept, and I'm thinking about possibly getting another one of these and redoing my Boss MS3 board, because it kind of makes sense of the way it's all set up, and I could have the option of attaching this new board with all these extra pedals and have them interact in like one system with another board like my Boss MS3 on it. So I like that idea. But right now, though, I'm very pleased with the Holeyboard 1, and I'm very happy I can use more of my unusual pedals together in a very creative way in one little thing. So anyways, that's what I've got going on here now. So what about you guys? What pedal boards are you guys using? Have you tried the Holeyboards? Did they work for you? Or are you finding any issues with maybe if you make an oddball size for finding a road case for them? Let me know in the comment section below what you think of them. I'd love to hear from you guys. Anyways, that's it. Take care. I'll see you soon.